basketball. Hello, everyone, to another exciting episode of Side Stories.
Hello.
Thank you for your nonchalant intro, Casey. It's always good to have you on the show.
Time.
I know. You always say hello and you always go bye.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your trademark. I like see you've already set up. You have a theme and a style, and you're here for it.
I'm a creature of habit, and sadly, that's how you get killed.
What?
Yeah, if you're too much, follow patterns too much, or that's how people track you, and that's how people kill you.
Are you afraid of that?
Some days.
This is not how I expect this to start, but good, very good. All right, we went from basketball to dying, apparently. Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, so we're here today to talk about things that might get you killed if you do them wrong, and that's specifically reading basketball games. But before we do that, can we loop back around to, are we really worried about creatures of habit hunting people down?
I only say that because, I guess, in the guard, I have to, basically my job is to, track things, and, you have a habit, and then, you're prone to stay in this habit, so you're easily he goes to the gym every day at this time, and then he goes to this restaurant, so we could find you, and, yeah.
What CIA operations are you working on right now again?
All of them.
You'd have to kill me if you really told me. Okay,
yeah.
well, luckily I'm not a creature of habit and you can't find me, so I will not have to worry about that. But speaking of bad habits, rigging basketball games, as we originally intended to speak about.
I'm sorry, I just threw this
good
curveball.
You can't make things like that up. I think that's wonderful. So, okay. Casey, you're our lead, I almost said singer, but you're our, whatever.
I'm taking the reins in this episode. Yeah.
No more horse no more Caligula.
Yeehaw. Okay, we're going to talk about rig sports. We're going to talk about a guy named Tim Donaghy. Donaghy, yeah. So he was an NBA ref from 1994 to 2007, and he reffed over 800 games.
Wow.
He was a big ref, and then all of a sudden he resigned because the FBI came out and they're like, "Oh, we're investigating fixing betting on games," and Tim was like, uh-oh.
So the crackdown came and the criminals had to run away.
Basically, so
they discovered the bad habit.
Exactly, yes, okay. Yes. So as it came to find out, they found out that Tim has a gambling problem. It's pretty bad. And he would place bets of tens of thousands of dollars on these games. He sometimes didn't ref them, sometimes he didn't. And sometimes he would just give information to people, be like, hey, this is what I know. So basically what he would do is before every game, refs get briefed. They're like, hey, this is some things we've been seeing from other refs, make sure you're watching for this, blah blah blah. So you would take that information, because sometimes it'd be like, oh, this player's sick, or this is who they're gonna play. So he would tell that to his friends or his bookies, whatever, and then they would bet against certain teams and make a lot of money. So he wasn't really fixing the games, but he was just giving insider information almost to people. And then sometimes he would bet against the games and also win money. And then sometimes, I guess it's not proven that he fixed games, or oh, he called more calls on this team to make them lose or something like that. But yeah, he was sentenced for 15 months for gambling, because that is a big no-no. When you're a ref or part of the game, you're not allowed to gamble. Even football players, you're not allowed to gamble against games you're in. Yes,
that's something that the FBI, they actually walk into locker rooms and explain that to players and the whole staff. It's very, very controversial.
Yeah. So he got 15 months. He had to pay $500,000 and restitution to the NBA. So, wasn't a whole bunch, but still a lot of money. No fun.
No fun.
No fun at all, guys.
No fun at all.
But so during the 2005, 2006, and then the 2006, 2007 NBA seasons, that's when he did a lot of his betting and helping bettors. I think it was two of his friends from high school were hey, you know all this information, you should tell us stuff, and then we can if I win these bets, I'll give you money, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I believe so. So what they're doing is they're paying him to rig the games, essentially, or at least to have an influence. If the right team wins, they'll get a payout.
Kind of, yeah. So Yeah. But basically, the way he said it, like I listened to part of my take, he talked to them. He was like, so a quote is, I wasn't doing anything that the league didn't want done. So like,
Okay.
basically the way he explained it was like, we get briefed and they want this team to win. Or like, they want the game to go this way. Because like, if you do like playoff series, they have 6 or 7 games. Everybody's watching it. And they want these games to keep going. Mm-hmm. So if one team, like, oh, this is their last game, and they win, but we still have one more game in the series, they'll be like, try, like, you know.
We want this to go to 7 games.
Yeah,
that
the
sort
money.
Of thing. Yeah. Okay.
So the way he was saying it was like, yeah, like, it's a known thing. And I'm like, well, that kind of sucks.
The league has some sort of influence over at least tries to influence to possibly the fullest legalist extent, at least.
Yeah.
Like how games go on.
Kind of.
According to him, at least.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, so basically he was doing, yeah, he just did that. Honestly, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Well, how did he do this sort of thing? Like, would he actually go in and like officiate bias towards one team or no? Or was it more...
most of the time, like they looked into it and he reffed just normally. Like he never really, like there were some games where he was biased, but most of the time he was like, no, I said this is who I think's gonna win. This is the information I know and whatever.
So it's not even so much he has to rig them, like because apparently he did at certain points.
Yeah, there are some games where he definitely was like, oh, I'm gonna call more on this team. Or whatnot, but most of the time he was like, "This is the insider information. I'm gonna tell my friends, and then they're gonna make a bunch of money." And then it's like
insider trading and that sort of
kind
way,
of.
People
Yeah,
know how the stock market's going to go apparently, or at least have some incentives, so they go and it's biased towards their favor, which is illegal. So it's like that with sports.
Yep.
Okay, that's very interesting. So it's kind of twofold. Is like you could use the insider information to make money in an illicit kind of scummy way, but then you can also bias it so that it goes your way, so it's not even a fair competition anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was mostly the latter.
Former.
Yeah. Former. Yep. There we go. Former.
Latter would have been the biased one. The former would have been just again, which makes sense, and you have to wonder how people are doing that, right? Because if you work in the league, you have more information than anyone out there, so you could place bets a lot smarter than anyone else.
Exactly.
So you can make a lot of money doing that.
Exactly.
Interesting. And then how long did you, was it 2007 he said this when he finally?
Yeah. It was like he got arrested in 2008,
okay.
like July 2008. So those 2 years, I think he did it for, I don't know how long. I think he did it for a good couple years before he got caught.
Yeah. When did it exactly start? Did it start with his career or did it start like midway through?
It's, from what I read, it started in like 2005.
Okay.
So it was
towards like the end of his career.
Yeah.
So he wasn't doing it for like almost going on over 10 years there. If it was 94, did he start?
Yeah.
Okay, 94 to 2007?
Yeah.
So it wasn't over 10 years of like rigged games and betting. It was more
it was more towards the end.
Okay, so it was more of he was apparently a pretty fair referee and then he got kind of corrupted or fell into the wrong group of people.
Like he was reffing and then he got into gambling and then he started getting into debt and then his friend, I think from high school, was like, hey, like let's start doing this. And then another friend got involved and then it was like basically like a 3-way man team where he would call one friend and be like, here's the information. Then the guy would take the information to the other friend and he would have the money and make the bets. And then it was like a big loop and then, yeah.
Okay, so they just kind of fed money back through the system.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, and then is he currently like sitting in jail or did he just pay the fine and he's out and about now?
He got out. He only had 15 months.
Oh, okay. Well, that seems...
Yeah.
I mean, I guess rigging sports, or at least being biased in sporting events, or however much rigging was truly going on, isn't like a super severe crime.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of money.
Yeah, he did have to pay $500,000.
Which is, again, that's quite a lot. That's again.
And he only... And part of my take, they asked him, like, oh, how much money did you make? And he's like, I really didn't make that much money. He made, like, maybe $100,000.
Really?
Yeah.
So he wasn't... I mean, did he get paid, like, after every game? Or only at certain times?
So if they won, I think he would get paid.
Okay. And I read somewhere, I think it's like $2,000 for each game or something like
exactly.
that. So his ref money that he made for his actual job and then $2,000 like under the table bonus.
Yeah, basically.
So I mean, he probably was sitting pretty comfy still. But
well, yeah.
Yeah.
He was making just millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, it wasn't anything insane.
No. But there is one game where there was a series in 2002 where it was like a clear show of how the league like wants to keep the series going.
Mm-hmm.
So it was game 6 of 7, and it was the Lakers versus the Kings.
And it's for the title, right? Like the final game of the year? Or is it playoffs?
Yeah, the playoffs. Yep.
Okay.
It was the playoffs of 2002.
Okay.
And the Kings were 1 game away from winning.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA was like, we want to keep it going to game 7 because like we're getting all this money and stuff. So the league was just like, hey, talk to the referees, like kind of make this going. So they favored the Lakers the game, and they allowed them to win game 6, basically. Personal fouls were ignored and made up fouls against the Kings in order to give the Lakers more 3-4 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't remember what the numbers were, but like you could see that like there definitely was a bias.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next game, there was no bias. Like the Kings just kind of threw their shot away. Like they just played a bad game, and the Lakers won. But there's a 1 game before the end.
Okay, so it's more of they weren't trying to necessarily make. Well, they're trying to make the whichever team. Sorry, I can't. It's Lakers and Kings, but whoever they're trying to make go to the 7th game.
Yeah,
of the
they
series,
wanted a 7th game,
but they didn't really care who won the series.
Exactly. The Kings were in the lead,
okay,
and then they were tied, and then the Lakers ended up winning, and that just by pure chance. The Kings kind of just had
a terrible game. And
Yeah.
but that still ruined their season then, because if it had been fair in that 1 game, they would have gone on, and who knows what could have happened. They might have won the whole.
Yeah, exactly. The series would have ended.
Yeah.
That right there.
So it just goes to show like how different things could be. Because think about it, that not only affects those 2 teams playing, but it affects the finals, obviously the whole season, and then who can win that, which is a bunch of money and rings and legacy and prestige. And so just 1 game, further on back down the line can affect how everything ends.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously that's just linear time, but still you have to really think about how deep these things can go.
Exactly.
That's
so like
interesting.
before, so like I will talk about an NBA draft, but before, like the losing. I think with the NFL, it's the losing team gets the first overall draft pick.
Okay.
Isn't it? I think that's how that works.
I believe so, because I know like the worse you do, at least in NFL, you should get higher draft picks each year.
Yeah. So that was the same for the NBA. Like if you had a bad season, like you got your first draft pick. And at one point, like teams are just like, we're just going to lose. Because then we'll get the first draft pick and it'll be fine.
Yeah, they're just throwing the games.
Yeah, basically. And then David Stern, he became the commissioner, and he was like, we're not doing that anymore. Like, no. So he created a lottery. So basically, the 1985 NBA draft, so it's the worst 7 teams of the last season were to get put into a lottery. And basically, it's like a big old bingo ball thing almost, but with envelopes. So they
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So basically, they just put them all in there, and they mix them up, and they pull it out, and they go from the bottom to the top.
Everyone goes, woo, look, it's this pick.
Yeah, so like number 7 is this team, and they go down.
But how do we know they're not rigging that one?
So, the way that 1985 went, Patrick Ewing was clearly going to be the first pick. He was going to be overall draft pick, whatever. And then David Stern, at the time, like just became commissioner, and he was from New York. So like his team was the Knicks. And he wanted the Knicks, obviously, to like get the first draft pick. He wanted Patrick Ewing to go to New York because that's a big moneymaker. Like everybody in New York watches basketball, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's pretty big up there. I mean, they watch all kinds of sports in New York, but it's
like,
a huge market.
Big moneymaker, basically.
Yep.
So they wanted him to go to the Knicks.
Yep.
Supposedly. So the theory is that they either froze the envelope so that when he would reach in there, he would feel that it's colder and pick it last. Or there was like a crease at the end on one of the edges so that he could feel the crease. And then when he pulled it out, he knew that was the Knicks. But anyways, Knicks got the number 1 draft pick, and Ewings went to the Knicks. So like,
that's really clever, the idea of freezing an envelope so that it could.
I didn't get that because I was like, how long does the envelope stay cold?
Yeah, and if you freeze it the wrong way, it could be like damp or something, and you would be able to tell in the other envelopes. But if it's just cold, if it's chilled, then it should work, hypothetically.
But how long does it stay chilled? Because like you start this thing, they come out. I think they did it in a halftime. They like aired it. So it's like you're under all these hot lights.
Yeah.
It's getting aired. It's in this bucket. It's like, how do you know that it's going to stay cold long enough for you to grab it out at the end? Because it's the last one to go. So, yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. So they've never been able to confirm that story or anything like that?
It's just theories, yeah.
Theories,
They just say that it was. But, yeah, do you think pro sports is rigged?
I think it's possible. I do think there's plenty of like league influence in sports.
Yeah.
Like I remember, and I'd have to watch it again just to get like the full story, but which I should have done in preparation for this podcast, so I apologize. But Wayne Gretzky, when he got moved, I believe, from the Edmonton Oilers to the LA Kings, 'cause he seems to kind of imply, or at least people have thought for a really long time, he's sort of implying that this trade was due to league influence. Like he was the greatest player in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like who's going to just go and trade Wayne Gretzky? And he doesn't want to go from Edmonton to LA.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Canadian himself. He would like to prefer to stay in Canada, it seems like. And so he's kind of giving this, I don't know about teary, but it's kind of like sad. Like, oh, I'm going to the LA Kings. Like, he did fine there, by the way. But like, the NHL at that time also was definitely trying to expand into the southern portion of the U.S. And now I think actually the majority of teams are below like whatever latitude in the U.S. or something like that. Because there are a bunch of them in California, some in Texas, there's in Florida now, they moved the Winnipeg Jets to Phoenix, Arizona. They came to Phoenix Coyotes, and they were terrible there. But but now there's the new Jets and all that. So like it's changed over the years. But in the 90s, when Gretzky was playing, they're really trying to get down into the South to open up all those new markets. That's when they went to Atlanta as well, and all these sorts of places that hockey had never had any historical roots in.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, assuming this theory is true, which it might have been more confirmed now. Again, I have to read up more on that. It really jogged my mind just now talking about it. I really should have looked it up, so I apologize. But it basically worked because the LA Kings got huge and Gretzky did well for them, and he was such an icon and such a moneymaker that it totally worked. So even if it wasn't like rigged or influenced, which it seems pretty hard to admit that it wasn't, it was the best thing for the NHL. Yeah. And of course, these leagues are going to do the best things for themselves.
Exactly.
So I do think that there is a certain level of rigging. I think the easiest sports to rig are probably the combat sports, honestly, because everyone knows professional wrestling is like fake and scripted, but that's the whole point of it. That's what kind of makes it fun, honestly. And not that I watch it at all, I don't, but it has been an interesting, thing to kind of look at. It does have a crazy long history, which actually I'll remember that tidbit because I'll talk about an ancient wrestling match a little bit later here. But I think that FIFA's corrupt as all get out, so. Like,
I don't
that's
really
not
watch soccer.
No, that's not even the sport itself as being corrupt, which I'm sure there is some of that, but just the league is corrupt and everyone knows it is, and like who hosts the tournament and all that is just insanity. So that's definitely like there's definitely a lot of corruption in sports. But as for outright rigging, I think it's not all rigged, but it will become more rigged as time goes on. Just because sports betting is getting legalized in more places and bigger. There's more incentive, more money. Yeah. You're going to see more people doing it. Or
like with the past Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like, of course they're going to want two brothers play together. Like, that's big moneymaker right there.
Yeah, or that even happened, I think it was 2006. It was the Peyton Manning...
Eli Manning,
but that might not have been the Super Bowl. I can't remember if that was actually the Super Bowl game or not, because I remember the Colts won that year, but I remember it was either Super Bowl or beforehand where they actually played against each other, and that was a big story, and I can't remember if it was Super Bowl or not, so I'm sorry. It's been literally so long since I watched the Super Bowl in 2006, I can't remember what number it was, because I'm sure you people can't tell, you obviously can. I don't watch football that often, but I've seen a fair share of Super Bowls. And I can't remember how that one went, so I apologize.
I mostly watch for the halftime show, so that's my football experience. I'm learning, I usually turn on the channel when the Bengals are playing, but that's for other reasons.
Why is that?
No reason.
Okay.
There's just the quarterback's really cool.
Okay, then. We'll leave
Have you not heard of the quarterback?
No, I don't.
Number 9, Joseph Burrow. Joe Burrow. Okay. You don't... No, I'm not surprised.
Okay, well, sorry.
The ladies will understand.
Okay, all right. Well, this podcast is going to be popular with a certain demographic. Good. Hey, we should have on the show.
I would die.
I would die. You know what? Now that you say that, though, as soon as you said that part, it jogged my memory a bit. I think I've heard of this. Apparently, hunky man. I don't know.
Apparently,
I can't place him in my head. Okay, but that's not what I thought it was going to be. I'm sorry. No offense. You're so disappointed. Well, I'm not going to get off track rating football players' looks, but let's just say I've seen better, hon. I've seen better in the league. I've seen better. Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, You're definitely a Jimmy Garoppolo guy.
No, none of them are Aaron Rodgers, okay? I'm not even saying that because we share a name. That was honestly the first hunky football player I thought of, and that's like not that might be name bias. I don't know, but that was the first.
That's definitely name bias.
Okay, well, fine.
Mr. Go sit in a cabin for. Did you hear about that? He did like a basically a psychedelic journey to decide his fate of if he's going to play again.
That's so based. I agree with that. Good for him. He's on a spirit
So he,
quest.
Yeah, basically, like you said, by himself, like in the dark for like 4 days.
Well, did he actually do psychedelics, or did he just sit in a dark room all day?
I don't know.
Well,
because he did something. I think he did. He went on a journey of some sort. I'm not 100% sure, but
okay. So as much as I don't agree with illicit drug use, I do definitely agree sitting in a dark room for 4 days contemplating fate, because that's just what like ancient philosophers would do. So
he wanted to talk to the Hat Man, see if he should play NFL longer.
You don't have to keep selling him to me. You're winning me over. This is great. This is my new favorite player. Yeah.
See, this is what I like about NFL. It just seems to get crazier and crazier. And I'm just like, this is what I'm involved in.
Or like how Tom Brady divorced his wife after. It was like, it's me or football. And he's like, well, I guess I'm going to football. Bye.
And then like a year later, he's like, oh, okay, now I'm done.
Yeah, well, he wanted his one more. I mean, that's not a good thing to do, by the way, but it's like that's an eccentric, crazy thing to do. And that's what I find interesting. Divorce is wrong, but I'm just saying, that's a better reason that I've heard than most.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But yes, here we are. Okay, so rig sports. Oh, I had a listing here of the most but yes, there was a sports betting study that was done in 2021 here. And you can find this. You can read the whole story. I found it on. I just have to give this website a shout out because I've never read this website in my life. It has a wonderful name. It's Bro Bible.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. Oh. But apparently there was a study which they do link to the full thing that you can read, which I highly recommend. But I'll just report shortly some of the findings that they had. That suspicious sports betting that indicates some sports might be rigged or biased.
Yeah.
The highest. This is the top 5 sports that have the most likelihood is soccer, basketball, tennis, esports, hockey.
Tennis? How do you rig?
Well, you have to think about it. Now tennis is a little bit different because nowadays they have like the sensors in like the ground and all that. They can tell exactly where the ball fell and they just tell if it's in or out. But back in the day, right, they would literally argue for like, it would be like tens of minutes if a ball was in or out. Like players would argue with refs just because, it would be like so close to that white line. Yeah. And so it would just become shouting matches if you watch in like the 70s. I remember my dad telling me about that one time as he would just watch people go ham, like shouting and screaming, probably in all kinds of different languages because tennis players are all French.
Yeah.
And, or Spanish. I think that's Roger Federer. I think he's Spanish.
Yeah, I think you're right.
See, there's a hunky man. There's another one. How do the ladies feel about Roger Federer?
I don't know.
Well, why don't you go ask them at the next lady council meeting or whatever it is?
I will. I'll bring it up. I'll bring up other sports where the hunky mans are.
Yeah, I want to find out what sport has the hunkiest men.
Okay.
See, this is the real study I need to figure out because then how do I start playing that sport? I'm just kidding. But I want to figure out what sport has the hunkiest men. And why is it probably hockey? Because that long hair, that gets them all wild.
That trend needs to die, honestly.
The hockey hair?
Yeah.
It's never going to die, I'm sorry.
I know it's not.
It's been a thing probably at least since the 1950s or 60s.
Yeah.
Hockey
Another thing
podcast.
About the NBA, about men, is when they're like anatomically, their like arms are longer than their like torso, where they have really long arms and legs. Freaks me out. I don't like it.
You don't like the Slender Man look?
No, I don't know what team he's on, but I see him. Austin always points him out because he knows I hate it. He's like, hey, there's your man. And I was like, no, I'm not looking at him. He freaks me out. His arms are just ginormous. It makes no sense. Like, freaks me out.
I need to figure out who this is right now so I can have him on the show next. His long arms. He can reach all the knobs and stuff right here on the focus, right?
Be great.
It'd be so perfect. He could be like, screw playing in the NBA. I'll pay him more to be on this show just to sit here and be like my
freak me out.
It'd be great. Yeah, my knob turner. That sounds wrong. I didn't mean to that. Sorry. But my dial spinner. I can't dig myself out of this hole.
Yep, you're going deeper.
Nope. I'm done. Okay, other things in rig sports history.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I also had mentioned the first rigged wrestling match. This is one I can go into really quickly.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So let me find my notes here. Sorry, folks. I always have the worst note-keeping skills.
Like Mo Bamba's wingspan? 7'10".
Ooh, 7'10", huh? That's something. Okay, here it is.
That's not okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Okay, mate. Well, does he have a good face at least? Winning personality.
I have no idea.
All right, so the first rigged match in all of wrestling history that we have confirmation of is from AD 267. It was between two teenagers in Egypt.
Oh, okay.
So basically there was it was basically like a celebratory sort of games. I believe it was held in the honor of the Emperor Hadrian, he had a friend of his that died, so they had like these big games in his memory. I think they also deified the guy later.
Cool.
Anyways, basically what happened was that, by my understanding, assuming I didn't read this all wrong, it was a contract they wrote up between the wrestlers and their, I guess, trainers and all that. Because even back in the day, you had trainers and kind of hangers on and everyone surrounding you, as sports have always been and always will be. But basically, one of them was going to take a dive and lose for the other one, and they were going to get paid out in a bribe. And the reason you do that, right, is apparently in ancient sports, it was very rare for anyone but first place to take any sort of like pot or any, winnings. It was all or nothing. So there was no silver or bronze, at least for a lot of these games.
Yeah.
It was mostly just you got the gold and that's it. And so the idea being why you might want to do that is like, okay, if I think I can beat that guy, I can go for it. But if I can't, well, maybe I should just take the dive and at least I get, some income back. And apparently when you were working with trainers back then, just like now, you also got into debt with them in some way, shape, or form. Because apparently they were expected to pay your room and board too. So it was kind of your livelihood was winning.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of incentive to do that. And I think that's the only contract that we have of something like that, because it's very weird for a contract to be written up for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of sources talk about like, and this was rigged, or this was possibly rigged, or they might have rigged this. So it appears to at least have been, if not heavily prevalent, heavily theorized about, but probably prevalent. In fact, the richest athlete at all time was a chariot driver in Rome.
Yeah, I believe it.
In fact, I think his winnings were roughly like 1/4 of the Roman treasury.
Speaking of winning money.
Yes.
So we started watching that golf. There's like, did you watch the Formula One series where they follow like the Formula One drivers through
my F1 players?
Yep, through their series. So they did one about golf. So they followed like a golfer for one day and like whatever as they played. They make so much money.
Oh, golf's insane.
Like even if you don't get first,
yeah,
you just get a couple tens and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, golf payouts are nuts.
Insane.
Well, do you know the story of John Daly?
No.
Okay, well, first off, I'm not going to derail the whole episode, but John Daly is always worth talking about because I've been a fan of John Daly before he became a meme. So I'm a hipster about it, and I need to rep my John Daly love. Because John Daly was the guy, right, who, have you seen, and this is so cringy to describe a meme on a podcast, sorry, but have you seen that recent meme where it's Tiger Woods standing on side and there's the guy wearing the funky pants and smoking the cigar? And it's
yep, okay, gotcha.
John Daly's that guy.
Oh, okay, yep.
That's John Daly.
Yep.
And John Daly is the guy who back in, I think he's been playing since like the 80s or 90s. And he has an insane amount of like, especially torque on his swing. Yep. So he can crush just balls and drives, just insane stuff. And he would play drunk. He would play like, he even said he played his best golf when he was drunk. There's also photos of him, and he's a chunkier guy too. And he'd be smoking a cigarette, and you can just see videos of him or photos that are taken of these, like, they're almost breathtaking photos, by the way. They're so well done, of just guy smoking a cigarette halfway down to the stump, and he's got this insane torque in his arms, and he's about to just rip this ball down the course. And there's these great photos of him doing that, and that's what he would do. But his thing is that there's the constant joke is, when John Daly ran out of money, because that's when he played golf again. Because he would go get drunk, party, do all this crazy stuff. And then he would go and, that's when he was playing golf too. And then he would go and do that when he wasn't playing golf. Yeah. And he would blow his money and you wouldn't see him for a while. And then he'd be back on the tour and be like, yeah, well, I'm out of money. So, or for divorce or stuff like that. And these are all like true things about him. And then he would go and he'd play golf and he would make a ton of money. And he actually won the Masters and stuff. Like, he's a good golfer. This is not some like random guy who wandered onto the field and was halfway decent. Like, he is a supreme level player. I think Tiger Woods said to John that, John, if I had your talent, I wouldn't need to practice. That is how talented John Daly is at golf. He just has an insane personality, and you can, again, find videos of, in golf, people will talk to them, and like the crowd follows you in golf. Yeah. It's a really unique environment, but he will play to the crowd, and that's why people love him too, is you'll see him, he'll be like wearing like a crappy windbreaker and jeans, golfing like a foggy day, and he'll rip the ball down the course, and as it's in the air, he'll be like, to that bar, and everyone will like laugh, and then he'll just walk down with them, and he'll just like talk and kind of BS with them, and then it's like, next thing he does, he's like going for birdie putt, probably half, hammered, it's like, this is what he does. And so like, what I'm saying is golf is the only sport that isn't rigged, because guys like John Daly play it and they succeed. So
yeah.
Or maybe it's all rigged, so it's all rigged. That's why he can play drunk. I don't know, but golf will probably be the hardest sport to rig. How would you rig golf? How would you ever rig golf?
I have no idea.
See, that's a good one. But
like, I don't like golf. I find it boring. I'll drive your cart, but I won't.
You'd be a cart girl.
Yeah, I would. Okay. I'll be your caddy. I won't know what to give you, but I'll just drive the cart. so I won't really be a caddy. But
Well, if I ever make a ton of money, I know who I'm asking to be my cart girl. That's I mean that in a positive way. But I'm just gonna. That's when I hit my rich guy version of the villain arc here that I'm on. I'll be like the rich fop, and like everyone can be like, Darian, you're my caddy. You're the cart girl. All my friends will be like the random people, and I'll play like the worst golf in history. And I'll just be like,
not as long as you pay me, or at least pay me in food or alcohol, I think I would be there.
Oh, that's going to be easy in golf. It's the only sport you can play drunk.
Exactly.
And I don't drink, so I'll be the only person like, who wants more booze? And just be everyone will be like crawling to like the 18th hole, and I'll just be like, come on, you're all lazy. Come on, you can do this. The golf crowd would crash like 5 miles back on like hole 3. It was like, come on, that'll literally be, that's my new dream. That's
we're just gonna go golfing.
We're gonna go golfing, and
everybody but Aaron will get smashed.
Yes, just completely. I literally want to be like the bar crawl on the course. I want to be you are crawling to that last hole with me. I'm just like, we are gonna make this. I don't care if it kills you, people. I am willing to make that sacrifice. It is time.
I'll do it. I'll go.
Well, we're definitely doing this. 25th birthday. There you go. That's what you can do for your 25th. We can go golfing of Aaron. Maybe mini golf's a good place to start. We can get Smash and play mini golf.
Yes.
See, mini golf's a good sport.
We can Happy Gilmore it, just beat the clown with the club.
That's my dream. See, another dream of mine. Okay, well, we have plans for later. Great. Awesome. Back to rigged sports games. What else do we got for this topic here?
I think I went over everything I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had one, so I talked about ancient Greek.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I have one that's in very recent memory. This is in 2021, so barely history.
Okay.
Also, that's a very good question. Is when do current events become history? Is it just the day after, or how soon does history start?
I would think so. Like, literally, like, basically the recordings we have, like our last episode we just did, that's going to be history. Like, that's us just retelling
Caligula.
Yeah, it's us retelling history. So how is that I don't know.
Well, we're doing history by telling you about what happened, which is history.
Yeah.
History is the recording of time in a sense.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. One time, okay, short tangent. I'll keep this. Hopefully,
this is a very like
all over
Caligula has really influenced on these 2 episodes.
We need to exercise his ghost. Apparently, he's still coming back for us at this rate. I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night. There's a Caligula standing over. It's like, oh, run away. But short tangent. I once read in a book somewhere that history is the act of forgetting, and that ticked me off because sorry, you booped my foot there. Yes. Okay, if anyone heard that, I tried to make a noise. She booped me. Anyways, see that's history now. It's going in the history books. You're a booper. But anyways. Sorry, that history is the act of forgetting, which I totally disagree with. I think that's the passage of time makes people forget. I think history is the act of remembrance. Yeah. And remembering what happened. So I think history is the complete opposite. I'm not going to name that book because I don't need to get in a fight with some random academic. But it was a history book, and I'm still mad about that because it wasn't like a textbook or anything. But I'm not going to go into it. But it ticked me off, and I'll die mad about it probably, honestly. But anyways, 2021. You know anything about esports, Casey?
I know it's becoming a lot more like it's the new hopping thing. You can do it a lot in college because UND has like started that.
Yes,
right?
They do. Yes, in fact, I have been in their esports room, which is very impressive. And in fact, I also know. Shout out to Seb. He was working with that group as well. So if he's ever on the show, we'll have to talk about that maybe. But yes, that was a very cool thing. But anyways, esports, right?
Esports.
So esports. Well, esports is a weird thing because again, it's called esports. It's not one single game people are playing, which I think makes esports kind of hard to grade because like they're playing Dota 2 or all these other things that people play and make billions of dollars. Basically, all these games I don't play except I occasionally Counter-Strike, which is like kind of the OG esport thing, by the way. But I am also not a major Counter-Strike person. I just go online and mess around because it's fun. So please don't take me for one of those like hardcore Counter-Strike nerds, which I'm not knocking those people. Don't come and kill me, but not my thing.
I'm a big Animal Crossing person.
Animal Crossing should be an esport.
Who has the coolest island?
Oh, have people vote on it?
That would be kind of cool.
Oh, I see.
I feel like that's already out there. I feel like people already do that.
Let's get you in an Animal Crossing league. I think you're going right to the top. You got some cute animals. I remember you showed me on your phone one time when we went out to eat at Sonic of all places. Like, look at this one. Like, that one's so cute. I've never played this game. But I find them cute, and I'm having fun as we're eating our French toast sticks. Yes. Random memory that you dredged up. But anyways, esports, which apparently we both know nothing about, as it turns out. There was a major esports, or maybe not major, but there was a esports debacle that went down in 2021. It involved the Estral Esports, which is a Mexican Rainbow Six Siege team. So basically what had happened was that and only one of the players got suspended for this. It's very odd because basically the entire like upper directors and kind of management of this team, players to either rig games or were trying to work with the players to rig games. But I think the thing is not all of them knew, or only some of the players knew that they were throwing games or doing things like that, trying to rig it. And so what happened in response to that is that the entire organization is banned from ever participating in any Rainbow Six tournament ever again.
Oh, wow.
But some of the players did not get banned, so they only got what they call a professional warning, so they can keep playing.
Okay.
And the main guy, who I think it's, let me look it up. I have it written on my note. I think it's Totska is his name. Totsky. Let's see if I can read this. Toski. Sorry, Toski. He had been sanctioned. He only got banned for like a few months. So, like the entire organization can't do it, but I guess these guys can go and join different teams and play on them. But this organization as itself, just because all the corruption of like the owners and all that, is completely banned from playing in those tournaments.
Interesting.
So what I'm saying here, and I know I didn't go that in depth about it, but I also don't know a ton about esports. And I didn't want to misrepresent anything. That's the basic information. So what I'm drawing there is that if they can rig esports, they can rig probably almost anything except golf.
Yeah.
Maybe golf. I don't know.
I'm gonna look up now. Can you rig golf? How do
Someone's had to have tried, right?
Well, don't they?
Oh, I know. You could purposely throw a golf match. Because how's anyone going to know if you shanked it or not? Because you're the only person, like...
Yeah, true.
Right? Like,
yeah, if you just have a bad game.
Yeah, or you just go a little bit into the rough, you add an extra stroke or two, like you're trying to sandbag yourself for somebody else to win. That would be really hard to tell.
That would be really,
really hard to tell.
Or remote control balls. Have someone standing just...
I feel like someone might notice the little antenna sticking out of the ball.
It doesn't need an antenna.
I know.
There's technology.
I know we don't live in 2002 anymore. We don't have little things sticking out of our RC cars and whatever nonsense. I know. I'm not that old. But I'm just saying, I think someone might notice if the ball like comes to life. But
yeah, they're like, oh, that's a weird movement. There's a bump in the course here.
But then again, I remember that one. Oh, I wish I remember the name. I don't think it was Phil Mickelson, but it was someone who was playing in like one of the big Masters tournaments, something like that. There was a ball that he hit, and it hit the fringe of the green, and it looked like it literally stopped in place. And like a second later, the spin came in, and it like rolled into the hole.
Weird.
I'll need to look that up again. But again, this is the problem doing the podcast, is that we do research and then off the cuff, I remember this crap. I don't remember where it was from. So here we are. But yeah, again, golf, maybe you can rig it.
We'll find a way.
We're gonna rig my golf games and get everyone else plastered drunk. See, that's the way you cheat at golf, is you get everyone else drunk and you don't drink. I've done it. I'll just be there with my little sun hat playing golf and my sunglasses. Everyone else be like crawling. They're like, "Come on, Darian, don't you want to play?" It's like you're a team.
There you go.
And he's like drunk missing. He would do this too, and he would love that. He'd find it hilarious.
Great.
I'm sure he's not even a golf fan, but he would probably play golf drunk. This podcast does not encourage drinking irresponsibly. Please drink responsibly.
Except when you're golfing.
Please golf responsibly. All right, do we have any closing thoughts for, again, you're right, the ghost of Caligula is just haunting us today.
I know. But like, I feel like no matter what, like sports are probably like, there's got to be some type of like rigging or like persuasion to make certain things go. So it's all about money.
Yeah.
That's all people want is money.
Oh, yeah. Money's it's a great motivator. I always say that the 4 greatest motivators in life are love, fear, hate, and money.
Yeah. 4
greatest motivators.
Like I think I read something about how refs, there was one guy, he was just being just an ass. He was like, he was just doing stuff.
Real jerk.
Yeah, basically. So they're like, basically the refs like ganged up and they're like, well, we're just going to call a bunch of fouls on him. And we're just going to like make him have a shitty game. And then he was like, I think he realized what was happening because he's like, oh, I should stop like doing that because the refs are like affecting my game. I'm getting more fouls and that means less game time for me. So yeah, you get enough people mad at you, they'll
for sure
ruin your life.
You know, it's funny, that's actually come into play in, again, my limited knowledge of professional wrestling. Like, that's actually been part of the storyline they're telling, is that someone, like, ticked off the ref and they rigged it, like, in their rigged universe. So it's like the story, because it's scripted, right? So the script says it's rigged, so the audience thinks it's rigged. Yeah, I know, it's like, I know, it's rigged in top of being rigged, because it's like if you're watching a TV show. Yes, it's like if you're watching a TV show, right, about a sports event, which obviously isn't real, and then it was rigged in that universe. That's what I'm talking about, if that didn't make sense. It's like in universe, it's rigged too.
I got it. Yeah.
I know, I'm just making sure for the audience here. I know you're smart. I just don't. I know the audience is too. Don't stop listening and cancel me. But I'll be surprised if you don't cancel me after the last episode of our original run of episodes where I said, you can't cancel me, this show's ending. And then I brought it back. So, oops, don't look at that episode. No, go watch it and try to cancel me, but you can't because I don't fear you. So go ahead. Now I'm bringing it on me. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead here. And
Smart.
Any final thoughts on rigged events?
No, I think I know I didn't cover a whole lot, but that was just a tiny thing. I'm sure I could go more in depth. I'm sure there's 100 examples about rigging events.
I feel like it's a topic. Oh, rigged gambling. We got to do that one. Because there are some insane stories of rigged gambling.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good one. So I think maybe tune in. Probably not next time, but soon enough for a rigged gambling episode. Because that's going to be a very fun. History of gambling itself is really cool.
Yeah.
And hyper complicated. But I'll point out a few key events maybe. And we can go with that one. So, all right. That's what I got. Do we have anything else?
Nope.
All right.
Okay. Sounds good. Bye.